Imagine this. You wake up on a regular weekday, nothing special, no dramatic moment. You reach for your phone out of habit and open your banking app. Not because you expect anything exciting, but because it's part of your routine. And something feels different. The balance is higher than yesterday. Not because of a paycheck, not because you worked extra hours, it moved on its own. While you were sleeping, while you were answering emails, while you were stuck in traffic. At first you shrug it off. Markets go up, markets go down. It doesn't mean anything, right? Then you pause and compare it. Yesterday you spent 8 hours working. Meetings, messages, tasks, stress. After taxes, your take-home pay for that day was around $300. Your investments made more than that in a fraction of the time. Not enough to quit. Not enough to change your life overnight, but enough to change how you see the system. Because something important just happened. Your income is no longer tied entirely to your presence. For the first time, money showed up without asking for your time, your attention, or your energy. It worked quietly in the background. Most people never experience this moment. They live with a single engine: labor. If they stop working, income stops. If they get sick, stressed, or burned out, everything freezes. Life becomes fragile. But there is a second engine most people never build: ownership. Two invisible lines exist in every financial life. One is expenses: housing, food, insurance, transportation, comfort. The cost of simply existing in modern society. The other is investment income: interest, dividends, growth, capital appreciation. Early on, the expense line dominates everything. The investment line is barely visible, a few dollars a month. Nothing that feels meaningful. This is where most people quit. Because compounding is unimpressive at the beginning. It does not reward impatience. It grows slowly, almost offensively slowly. But compounding is not linear. It accelerates. Year after year, the curve bends upward. Small contributions stack. Gains build on gains. Time becomes leverage. Eventually, without drama, the second line approaches the first. This moment has a name: the crossover point. It is the point where your investment income can cover your expenses. Where work stops being mandatory and becomes optional. This is not motivation. This is not mindset. This is math. You can calculate it. Lower expenses move the line down. Higher investment contributions move the line up. Time does the rest. This is why two people with the same salary end up in completely different futures. One inflates their lifestyle with every raise. The other protects their margin and invests the difference. What feels like comfort today can quietly turn into obligation tomorrow. As you move closer to the crossover point, something changes psychologically. At the start, investing feels like deprivation. You are giving up enjoyment now for a promise later. The numbers feel small. Progress feels invisible. Then your portfolio reaches a size where movements matter. A 1% change is no longer abstract. It pays a bill. It covers groceries. It replaces a chunk of your income. You stop seeing money as static. You feel it move. And with that comes a subtle shift in how you relate to work, authority, and risk. Your job stops feeling like a lifeline. Your employer stops feeling like a gatekeeper. Your fear of losing income weakens. Freedom doesn't arrive all at once. It arrives in layers. First, your investments cover a small expense, then a category, then most of your discretionary life. Eventually, almost everything. Each layer increases optionality. You can negotiate differently. You can say no more often. You can choose paths based on interest, not desperation. There is even a stage before full independence where your future is mathematically secure, even if you slow down. Where compounding is doing the heavy lifting for you. At that point, you are no longer racing, you are steering. Markets will fall, volatility will happen, crashes are inevitable. That risk is already priced into long-term returns. The real danger is not fluctuation. The real danger is dependency. Depending entirely on your ability to trade time for money indefinitely with no backup system. Every financial decision you make moves you in one of two directions: closer to freedom or further from it. Money is not just purchasing power, it is stored time, stored choice, stored autonomy, and if you stay consistent long enough, if you resist upgrading every part of your life with every raise, if you allow time to work instead of fighting it, one ordinary morning will feel different. Not because something dramatic happened, but because you realize your life is no longer powered by effort alone. Your time is no longer fully for sale. And here's the part almost nobody talks about. When you begin to build this second engine, your behavior changes before your bank balance does. You stop asking, how much does this cost? And you start asking, what does this delay? Every purchase quietly pushes your crossover point forward or pulls it closer. That new car payment isn't just a monthly expense, it's extra years of required work. That lifestyle upgrade isn't comfort, it's commitment. This is why two people earning the same income can live in completely different realities. One uses raises to buy convenience, status, and upgrades. The other uses raises to buy time. The difference compounds. Lower expenses don't just reduce stress, they reduce the size of the target. Higher savings don't just grow wealth, they shorten the timeline. Most people try to solve financial pressure by earning more. That works, but only temporarily. If your expenses rise with your income, the finish line moves at the same speed you do. You feel busy, you feel productive, you feel successful, but you're standing still. The crossover point exposes this illusion because it forces clarity. You see a number, you see a gap, you see a timeline, and suddenly the future stops being vague. This is why people who calculate it often feel relief, even if the number is large. Uncertainty creates anxiety. Specific targets create control. You no longer need motivation, you need consistency. The math does not care about motivation. It rewards repetition, month after month, year after year. And here's something important. Reaching the crossover point does not mean quitting work. Many people don't. It means working without fear. It means choosing projects because they matter, not because you're trapped. It means negotiating from strength instead of scarcity. It means being able to walk away. That freedom shows up long before full independence. It shows up the first time you turn down overtime, the first time you take time off without panic, the first time you stop checking your bank balance before making small decisions. Money becomes quieter. Your attention shifts away from survival and toward quality of life. And that's the real transformation, not the number, not the account balance, but the mental space that opens up when your future is no longer fragile. This path isn't flashy. It doesn't rely on shortcuts, luck, or viral success. It relies on boring habits done consistently in a system that rewards patience. Spend intentionally. Save aggressively. Invest automatically. Let time do the heavy lifting. The crossover point isn't a dream. It's a date on a calendar that moves closer every time you choose long-term freedom over short-term comfort. And one day, without ceremony, you'll realize something fundamental has changed. You are no longer running, you are deciding.